Good morning, everyone. My name is Gwyneth Cortez Sinigaglia, Procurement Manager for the CDBG-DR and Mitigation Programs. On behalf of the Procurement Director, Héctor Omi Martinez Rosado, we welcome you to this pre-SOQ meeting. In this meeting, we are going to discuss the request for qualification for process number CDBG-MIT RFQ 2025-01 for planning, architectural, engineering, and permitting services for coastal protection and flood control projects. I would like to introduce the Puerto Rico Department of Housing personnel. Along with me is Luis Santiago Ocasio, Technical Specialist from Procurement Division, Gabriela Cabrera Soldevila, Procurement Official, Ibelis Martinez Sanchez from Infrastructure Division, and Joseph Rosales Rodriguez from Federal Compliance Division. Any information provided in this meeting does not change the terms and conditions established in the request for qualification instructions. The meeting will be recorded and available in our CDBG YouTube channel. All procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual for the CDBG-DR and MIT programs to guarantee full and open competition and fair treatment of all persons or entities involved in each procurement process. The procurement manual is available on the CDBG-DR website, incorporated by reference and made an integral part on this request for qualifications. Now, we have a presentation from the Infrastructure Mitigation Program for an explanation of the scope of services. We will leave you with Ibelis Martinez Sanchez.
Thanks, Gwyneth, and thank you all for your interest in the CDBG MIT RFQ 2025-01. We look forward to receiving many proposals and obtaining targeted participation in the process. My name is Ibelis Martinez, Deputy Director for Infrastructure, and I will be providing a short presentation on key points we want to highlight this morning. These include an overview of the Infrastructure Mitigation Program, targeted activities, tasks and services, and expected staff requirements and qualifications. A moment. Some technical issues here. Okay, let me know if you see the presentation.
Okay. Yes, we can see the presentation.
Perfect. Let me do the full screen. Okay, here we go. So basically, I'm going to talk to you about the CDBG MIT Infrastructure Mitigation Program, or InfraMIT, as we all know him. It serves to address mitigation needs by improving the built environment in order to mitigate hazardous threats. The purpose of this program is to empower applicants and/or entities to identify risks and develop solutions to mitigate risks to infrastructure assets through innovative, eco-conscious, and self-sustaining solutions. By implementing strategic, transformative, and high-impact projects, the InfraMid program aims to strengthen the island's resilience to future disasters by reducing risks attributable to natural disasters, addressing repetitive property loss, and improving critical infrastructure. For more information, please refer to the program guidelines available in English and Spanish in the links below. Now entering into the targeted initiatives, we have the Coastal Erosion Control Initiative, and we also have flood control projects. Regarding the Coastal Erosion Control Initiatives, these initiatives aims to address the needs of specific coastal zones around the island by implementing large-scale infrastructure projects covering both gray and green infrastructure elements and including hybrid initiatives. This may include, but is not limited to, seawalls, revetments, breakwaters, groins, planting corals or seagrass, and the restoration and stabilization of sand dunes. These efforts aim to enhance coastal protection to help mitigate the impacts of future floods, storm surges from hurricanes, and other seasonal weather events. Projects may be estimated at no less than $30 million. Flood control projects. In here, we have multiple flood control projects that have been identified across the island. These projects may include, but are not limited to, the following: regarding improvements and reconstruction of bridges to protect access against floods, soil stabilization and retention walls, construction storm drainage systems, channeling and restoration of water basins, among other flood control measures. Projects may be estimated at no less than $10 million. Regarding the tasks and services, the following are the tasks that the selected respondent or respondents may perform under this scope of services. We have the pre-construction management. Here the proponent needs to provide comprehensive pre-construction management of every project that is assigned, support the PRDOH and or the CDBG-MIT subrecipients with proven strategies to deliver the best possible projects on time and within budget. This is very important for the program. Assist with the review of the implementation plan and cost estimates provided by the master plan. Ensure designs compliance with PRDOH and or the CDBG-MIT subrecipients requirements while meeting the project goals and program guidelines. Also, we look for the assistance to the PRDOH with the preparation of procurement packages to acquire any necessary services for the implementation of project activities. Now we are entering in the details regarding the master planning services. Here, we expect that the proponent performs data collection and hazards analysis, also conduct vulnerability assessment and resiliency master planning phase for the projects assigned by identifying specific assets that are at risk. Also, development, evaluation, and selection of alternatives to mitigate risk and damage to each critical asset identified. And at last, develop a conceptual resiliency master plan. Continuing with the tasks and services, regarding the design services, the design development of projects assigned in alignment with the master plan. This task includes the following: preparation of preliminary design, development of construction drawings with all physical characteristics and details within plans and specifications with sufficient detail to describe the materials, construction methods, among other factors. Assistance during the procurement process of construction services by drafting instructions to the bidder, scope of work, bid forms, and others. And also provide services during the construction phase by ensuring compliance with the design and specifications, performing project site visits, and assisting with the administrative closeout of construction implementation contract. As a note regarding the design services, all engineering or architectural work must be performed by a professional or professional services organization in accordance with Act Number 173 of August 12, 1983, as amended, better known as the Act of Puerto Rico Examining Board of Engineers, Architects, Surveyors, and Landscapers, and also Act Number 164, 2009, as amended, better known as the General Corporation Act. Continuing with more tasks and services, we are entering in the permitting and environmental services. This is something that the program aims to receive regarding this action item of environmental services, which is very important for this kind of projects. We need that the proponent identify and obtain all financial determinations, permits, recommendations, consultations, and endorsements required for local and federal regulatory agencies. Also prepare environmental studies, including biological, wetland, and marine resources, historical and archaeological studies. Conduct environmental reviews, prepare and publish public notices, respond to public comments, and also assist on the preparation of the request for release of funds, RROF. And regarding some more additional services, in addition to the traditional services included in the scope of work and scope of services, some projects may require additional services to deliver a complete and thorough design, such as coastal analysis, physical surveys, hazardous material studies, geotechnical studies, structural studies, transportation, traffic studies, and also peer reviews. At last, we want to highlight the staff requirements and qualifications that we expect in the proposal. The selected respondent or respondents must always ensure that professional architectural, engineering, and management work services are performed by licensed professionals with the proper qualifications, skills, and experience necessary to perform such services according to applicable federal and local laws, state and municipal, and regulations. In future procurements, based on the specific project scope of work, the selected respondents shall demonstrate that its key staff and subcontractor staff applicable meet the desired requirements, necessary experience, and knowledge to successfully implement and perform the tasks and services. PRDOH reserves the right to modify any requirements, including education, experience, and professional certifications and licensing for such procurements. Also, PRDOH reserves the right to modify the roles and responsibilities as well as add or remove positions depending on the specific scope, scale, or complexity of each selected project. Preferably, key staff shall be located on the island when performing work under the contract. So thank you all again for being here with us and participating in this pre-SOQ conference, and we look forward to receiving your proposals. Thank you.
Thank you, Ibelis. Thank you all for being here today and participating in this pre-SOQ meeting. And the important dates for this RFQ will be the following, as shown in this presentation. For submissions of questions and requests for clarifications, you have until on or before March 21, 2025 at 4 p.m. Responses will be published in an addenda on March 28, 2025. And SOQ's due dates are from April 21, 2025 at 9:30 a.m. up to or on or before April 23, 2025 at 4:30 p.m. Any questions or inquiries must be submitted through the
for submission of inquiries and sent to the email presented on screen. Thank you. Responses to all respondents' questions will be answered by the addendum and will be posted on the CDBG-DR website as published on the screen. All documents related to this acquisition process, including the addenda issued, are and will be available for download at the CDBG-DR website. All respondents are responsible for monitoring the CDBG-DR website for any issued addendas. The RFQ documents are available for download at the CDBG-DR website as presented on the site. Responses to the RFQ will only be accepted by electronic means. SOQs submitted after the prescribed deadlines will not be allowed. The PRDOH will neither require nor accept physical submissions. If an SOQ is submitted on paper and electronically, only the electronic version will be considered for evaluation. Respondents will receive access to submit SOQs after completing the registration process through the CDBG-DR website. Once the scheduled submission period begins, a link will be enabled access to the registration form. Please complete all required fields in the form. The SOQ must be submitted within the closing date and time scheduled. Access to upload the SOQ will begin approximately 3 business days before the closing scheduled date at time.
Good morning. SOQ scoring. The SOQ will be evaluated by the PRDOH as described in the RFQ instructions, emphasizing the following. Following receive the responses of all respondents will be reviewed for completeness and analyzed based on criteria described in this RFQ. Consequently, an evaluation committee will meet to evaluate each SOQ based on set criteria. The evaluation committee shall conduct a comprehensive, fair, and impartial evaluation of SOQs received in response to this RFQ. Considering first the mandatory requirements of the SOQ, mandatory requirements will be evaluated on a pass or fail basis. Those respondents whose SOQs meet the mandatory requirements will be evaluated by the evaluation committee for the following criteria. Qualification requirements for a maximum score of 46 points. Experience and capabilities for a maximum score of 64 points. And a preference for Section 3 Business Concern, NWBE, or BOB for a maximum score of 5 points. The maximum total SOQ score, including preference, is 115 points. After completing the evaluation of the qualifications requirements, the evaluation committee will report to the PRDOH bid board which respondents are considered qualified. To be considered a qualified respondent, the respondent must obtain an overall score greater than or equal to 70 points. For more information about the evaluation of the SOQs, please refer to sections 6 through 8 of the RFQ instructions. Regarding SAM registration, respondents and first-tier subcontractors must be registered in the System for Award Management, also known as SAM, at the time of the SOQ submission or initiate the registration process right after the SOQ submission. For more information, please visit the SAM website. There is no fee to create, renew, or update your registration. Awards will only be issued to entities that are clear and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or HOT-imposed limited denial participation. Now, we will leave you with Joseph Rosales from the Federal Compliance Division for an explanation of Section 3 Business Concern and MWBE Business Requirements.
Thank you, Luis. I'm gonna project the presentation right now. Here it is. Let me see if you can see the presentation.
Yes, we can.
Perfect. So good morning, everyone. I am here today representing the federal compliance team from the Puerto Rico Department of Housing. We thank the procurement division for the opportunity to present on compliance and labor standards requirements. This presentation is prepared in English. However, if it is required in Spanish, please submit a request following the procurement protocols. Today, our agenda includes a discussion on the overview of compliance roles and responsibilities. We will also review the tools available on our website. Finally, we will cover documenting efforts, reporting requirements, and address frequently asked questions. The work to be performed under the contract resulting from this RFP may be subject to the requirements of Section 3 of the Housing and Urban Development Act of 1968 as amended. Section 3 helps foster local economic development, neighborhood economic improvement, and individual self-sufficiency. The Department of Housing makes available a Section 3 policy guide on their website, both in English and in Spanish. Contractors must read and implement the activities as applicable and necessary. They are also responsible for their subcontractors, ensuring that benchmarks are met. For Section 3 projects, 24 CFR 75 has established the following benchmarks. 25% of the total labor hours per project should be work hours by Section 3 workers, and 5% of the total labor hours should be work hours by targeted Section 3 workers. The Section 3 plan template allows contractors or subrecipients to outline their strategies for meeting Section 3 hiring, training, and contracting goals. A Section 3 contractor plan is available online on the PRDOH site in English and in Spanish. This document assists in identifying new hiring and subcontracting needs, helps plan outreach efforts, and supports coordinators in managing daily activities. Finally, it helps you define compliance procedures, and it helps you understand your reporting requirements. Section 3 self-certification forms helps individuals identify if they meet the requirements to be considered a Section 3 worker or targeted worker. Contractors and subrecipients must make efforts to complete self-certification forms as part of their contracting and purchasing procedures, fulfilling their Section 3 business identification commitment. The businesses that are identified as Section 3 will be part of the database for dissemination of contracting and purchasing opportunities. You can access the self-certification forms through the link in this presentation. The work to be performed under the contract resulting from this RFP shall be subject to the regulations set forth in the CFR 200-321. This regulation requires the non-federal entity to take necessary steps to ensure that, when possible, all subrecipients, contractors, subcontractors, and/or developers funded with CDBG-DR or CDBG-MIT funds to hire or provide economic opportunities to small and minority firms, women-owned business enterprise, and labor surplus area firms. There are various regulations that call for the inclusion of the minority and women business enterprise, 2 CFR 200-321, as well as Executive Orders 11-625, 12-138, and 12-432, establish that the participation of MWBE firms which seek to ensure that, when possible, contracts and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with federal housing and community development assistance are directed to minority business enterprises and women business enterprises. The MWBE policy guide will identify that there are goals which apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. There is a total minimum participation goal, which are 10% for women-owned businesses and 10% for minority-owned businesses. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities of $10,000 or more during the life of the contract. So let's look at the MWBE utilization plan. This tool assists in compiling data from subcontracting purposes. It helps you identify that what needs you may have. It helps hold discussion on creating supplier and contractor listings and provides awareness of meeting the goal for the contract and tracking. You can use the link in the presentation to go to the website and download the plan's template. Minority business enterprise is defined as a business that is 51% or more owned, operated, and controlled on a daily basis by one or more U.S. citizens of ethnic minority and/or gender, military classifications, and/or veterans. While a woman business enterprise is defined as a business that is 51% or more owned, operated, and controlled by one or more women, must be a U.S. citizen or legal resident, whose business formation and principal place of business are in the U.S. or its territories, and whose management and a daily operation is controlled by women. When we talk about certified minority or women-owned businesses, we are referring to those who have filed applications with federal entities such as SBA and others that you see here in the presentation. Businesses who are certified can provide proof of completing an application process to be officially recognized as a certified minority or woman-owned business. If you are registered as an MWBE, you should provide your valid certificate or other evidence in response to this RFP. As part of its obligations to the Department of Housing, the contractor or subrecipient must carry out compliance efforts during the term of the agreement or contract, which will be reported by submitting the quarterly report and the template to document efforts. It is the duty of every organization to keep the preservation of the documents updated according to the policy on document management and administration and accessibility created in your organization. The objective of the template to document efforts is to facilitate the compilation of all the arrangements and procedures intended and linked to Section 3 and MWBE as applicable. These efforts are carried out during each quarter by the subrecipients and contractors. The Department of Housing has established a quarterly report available on the website for subrecipients and contractors to download, complete, and submit. This form is the method for reporting quarterly compliance activity and reports on Section 3, MWBE, and FHEO regulations. All subrecipients and contractors are expected to have a system for collecting updated information for reporting on this form. PRDOH's quarterly report captures Section 3 data from the 24 CFR 135 data, 24 CFR 75 data, efforts performed. For MWBE, it captures contracting for MWBEs, for MBEs and WBEs, and efforts performed. For FHEO data, it captures limited English proficiency, compliance with EEOC, and workforce race and gender information. PRDOH requires quarterly reports from all contractors to be submitted on April 5th, July 5th, October 5th, and January 5th. So let's briefly discuss FHEO. Your RFP, for FHEO, your RFP package will also contains a model contract which outlines fair housing and equal opportunity areas of compliance. Contractors are responsible for ensuring compliance with federal civil rights and fair housing through their contractors, subcontractors, and so forth, ensuring that all necessary efforts are being made. The Fair Housing Act and Section 109 and 504 prohibit discrimination against the following protected classes of people: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, familial status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Act is part of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. There are many executive orders, laws, and statutes that govern the non-discrimination of protected classes to ensure equal opportunities for individuals in accessing federally funded programs. PRDOH has published policy document addressing FHEO as well as language access plan. These policies must be implemented by contractors and subrecipients. They are publicly available online in both English and Spanish. You are encouraged to click on the link if you would like to access the resources available. As a recipient of HUD financial assistance, the Department of Housing must ensure that all programs affirmatively further access to fair housing and that the programs provide equal opportunity for participation and employment. Limited English proficiency. Reasonable accommodations, RA, are adjustments to a program policy, practice, or service that afford individuals with disabilities equal access to the program's benefits. Section 504 requires federally funded programs provide requested RA and/or RMs at the cost of the program to the extent that they are reasonable and address a verified disability-related need. Contractors that have 15 employees or more are required to have a 504 coordinator. The CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT reasonable accommodations policy provides requirements and guidance for evaluating this request. PRDOH supports program in the handling and evaluation of this request. Limited English proficiency refers to persons' limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. Due to Puerto Rico's high Spanish-speaking population, all entities and contractors using CDBG-DR and CDBG-MIT funding must seek to ensure both that the person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English in both English or Spanish will not place them at a disadvantage in participation of programs. Thank you for your attention. Please remember to direct all your questions through the established protocols for this procurement.
This concludes our presentation for today. Thank you all for attending. Have a good day.